Hello, I am Emma Lejwa, and I will be talking to you about my observation. For my observation, I had decided to go back to my roots to Van Buren District Secondary School, where I am a proud VBDSS graduate, class of 2018. You can see me right here with my big class of 13 kids. All joking aside, I decided to go back to observe my old high school science teacher, who I just really enjoyed having as a teacher, and decided that it would be a good idea to go back into her classroom, not as a student, but more so as a future teacher. The teacher that I observed was a high school science teacher who teaches chemistry, biology, forestry, earth, and physical science, and she also teaches some middle school science classes as well. So as you can see, there is a lot to do with her teaching philosophy. However, I'm just going to focus on a few. The first one is that she was very focused on building relationships. This is something that I could see even before I walked into the classroom. She was outside her classroom from the moment she got there in the morning until the first bell rang for first period, and then she was even out in the hall in between bells. So she was always out there just talking to kids, asking how the game went, are they excited for their test, how that went, do they have any plans for the weekend, and all just kinds of things just to get to know them a little better. And just another one is that she wants to teach them stuff worth knowing, even if it means going away from the curriculum. She had mentioned that the curriculum doesn't always give you like the right tools that you want to teach. Like, she wants to teach them stuff that they can use more than once in her life, and that's what she's trying to do by not straying too far away from the curriculum, which I think is a great philosophy to have. You want to teach your students stuff that they can use over and over again in their life, even if it happens way down the road. Another important one is making sure they know you care. I'm going to talk about this one a little later because there's a quote that I want that's at the end of this presentation. These two, being flexible and encouraging teamwork and group work, are also in her teacher philosophy, but they're also great classroom management, so I can talk about those in the next slide. These two right here, I really love that she has in her teacher philosophy. An open door policy means that her door is always open as long as she's not teaching a class or in a meeting or running around prepping stuff. So it helps students who need to talk to her really get their frustrations out, or even just calm down from another class that they were just in. So I think that's great. I also love how she avoids doing the lecture test routine. This makes sure that your students are always engaged by avoiding these types of things. I know for me, often my tests look like either a PowerPoint or a paper or an experiment of some sort instead of sitting down and doing an actual test, which I really enjoyed because that's how I learned better, is by doing hands-on activities or even like researching than performing a test. So this one should really be, she has a variety of places to sit. For example, she has two round tables that students can sit there by themselves or sit there with a group of their peers. But she also has some individuals' desks behind those for those students who just want to sit at their own desk. And then she even has about 2 or 3 desks in the way back for students who just need to disengage from their class for a little bit and just be by themselves and get their work done there. She's okay with doing that as long as they are doing their work and doing what they're supposed to. I was also talking to her about this a little more, and she actually wants to look into getting a couch and some beanbag chairs for those students who want a more comfortable environment. Another thing is that she pulls disruptive students aside or talks to them right there in class. One thing I really enjoyed seeing her do as a way to manage her classroom was that whenever a student was acting out, she would look at them and be like, so-and-so, you are at your limit or close to your limit. This is the time for you to unwind and go back down before you overreach your limit and I can no longer help you from that point. And I like that because that lets the student know that she's not happy with them or she's not too impressed, and that the student's like, oh, whoa, I need to take a step back and kind of relax. This one is kind of, she'll just put, if it's very complex or very intense, she'll put it up on the board. If it's like a research paper, an article or a blog post, she'll just put it up on the board, and her students will either have it on their laptop or on a piece of paper so that they can follow along with her. And she assigns jobs to those disruptive students that she knows that if they don't keep busy, they'll just make a mess of the classroom or bother other students. So she normally has those students read the text, and instead of giving them the answer, she'll ask those thought-provoking questions, almost playing devil's advocate, where she's like, so why do you think this? So why is that like that? And if the students really cannot understand it, she'll have them group up, and she'll be like, okay, pair up, and within like 5-10 minutes, we'll debrief what you and your group have discussed. And I think that's a really good classroom management tool of making sure that your students are understanding the material without you having to give them answers. I loved when she had this, and she still had it when I went there, and I loved seeing that. So basically, she just prints out on a piece of paper the class name on top and then the standards for that quarter or semester below it. I loved having that because that kept me in track of what I was working towards and what I had to do before the end of the semester. So this is the quote that I wanted to bring up. If they think you don't care, then they don't care what you teach. I think that this speaks volumes. This just came up in a casual conversation that we were having, but she said it and I was like, wow, you are so right. If they think you don't care, then they don't care what you teach. Oftentimes, students who think that the teacher do not care about them, they have that attitude where you don't care about me, so why should I care about you? But oftentimes it's you don't respect me, so why should I respect you? So you have to find that fine line where you show care for your students. You show them care and respect. And that is the best way that you're going to get them to learn and be engaged in your classroom. And I think that not enough teachers know this. And that's why they have students who act out. They have students who are troublemakers. They have students who are constantly down at the office. But if you show them just a little bit of care, just a little bit of love, and just a little bit of respect, you'll probably see a 180 in your classroom. So I just wanted to give a big thank you to all of those who have sat through and watched this presentation about my observation. I hope you all have a fantastic winter break.